Good morning, everybody. It's the next day. It's Sunday. The day we're going to check out. Sorry, my mouth is really dry. I just woke up and I haven't had anything to drink yet. But for as long as I've been camping, it just goes to show that you always have something to learn. And when I go full-time traveling in my van, I will continue to learn, and that's why this channel is called Solo Female Van Life Lessons. A couple of lessons from this weekend. Number one, don't change your plans based on the weather. There are two reasons for this. The first is that when I looked at the forecast and it was going to be 92, I thought, if I wasn't meeting a group of ladies that I knew from Meetup and Facebook, if I was just going by myself, for instance, I would probably cancel. 90 is too hot for me to be outside and not in air conditioning, let alone be camping in my car. 90-degree heat, I'm sure you know, in a car is going to be much higher than that and untenable. But it turned out to only be 90 on the day that I was driving here, and I drove during the hottest hours. And by the time I got here, it was nice and cool. It was in the low 80s, if even maybe high 70s. So if I had changed my plans, I would have missed not only a fantastic trip where I met some fantastic women, but also I would have missed the greatest weather I've had camping that I can recall. It was perfect for sleeping. It was perfect for hiking. It was probably in the low 80s yesterday as well. That was the high. So most of the morning was really nice and chilly. And then last night was very chilly. And today is probably going to be even colder, I think in the 70s, which brings me to my second point about don't change your plans for the weather. I am very much a minimalist packer, I think, as you all know. And I didn't pack my usual sweatshirt and warm sweatpants because of the forecast. And I thought, it's only going to be 70 as the lowest day. I'm not going to need anything warm. Last night I was chilly around the campfire, and I had to pull one of my comforters around me because I didn't have anything warm except this jacket, which is very, very thin, and this long sleeve shirt that I'm wearing. So I went to bed in it last night because it was so cold. It was perfectly comfortable in the car, and I had my sleeping bag and comforters, so I was prepared there. Bring multiple layers of anything, whether it's bedding, socks, clothing, because you never know what you're going to need, or if you're going to spill coffee all over yourself and you need to change anyway. So in the future, if it's in the winter time, I'm still bringing shorts and a short sleeve t-shirt. Maybe the cabin gets really hot and we can't turn the heat down. In the summertime, I'm still going to bring a very warm sweatshirt and a very warm pair of leggings or pants. And again, I think it doesn't take up that much room. It's on my list and it doesn't hurt to have it. So that's my lesson for this camping trip. I recommend you bring a pair of slip-on shoes. I just brought my water waders this time because I knew we were going to the beach and swimming. But even though I can slip them on, they're fine as slip-ons. My preferred shoe is a mule, like a sneaker mule, and it's easier. These you have to slip on with a finger in the back to get them on. With the mules, you just slip your foot in. But so I think even in the future, I might bring some more shoes, a variety, more than just the 2 pair. I usually bring hiking and 1 other pair. I think I'll start bringing 3, so I have a little more options. It's chilly this morning. I don't know the temperature, but it's probably in the 60s, probably low 60s, and we're just having a nice relaxing morning where we are sitting around. I'm wearing a comforter as a wrap. It's too windy for a campfire. You can see the ash that's blowing around. We are all going to be going our separate ways at different times, saying goodbye to each other, sharing phone numbers, and planning on getting together again sometime soon. our members woke up this morning, and when she went to start her car to leave, it was dead. The battery was not dead. We call it a dead battery, but it just had drained. So one of our other members had a car jumping battery. I don't know what they're called technically, but you don't need to use jumper cables from car to car. It's just a battery that you can jump your car with. And so was able to get it started. I highly recommend these. You can get them at Walmart. They're maybe 40 bucks, tops 60 bucks, but so worth it, because if something happens and you're alone or you don't have jumper cables, you can do it yourself. The instructions are there, and so valuable. I've done videos on car safety and maintenance and things like that very, very early on in this channel, so go check that out if you're interested in knowing what things I recommend for you to have so that you can take care of your vehicle in terms of emergencies like having a dead battery. So while I'm close by, I decided to check out World's End State Park. World's End State Park is in Loyalsock State Forest. When you are carrying lettuce in your cooler, I use the refillable bottles of water. Instead of recycling it, I just fill it with water and then freeze it in my, this is a COVID vaccine cooler. So what you do is you wash your lettuce that you want to bring on the trip, and then you dry it with some paper towels, and the paper towels absorb water. Then you don't throw the paper towels away. You put them in a plastic bag, and the wet paper towels keeps the lettuce fresh. There's my sandwich for the day. Did you know that tomatoes should not be refrigerated? At home, I leave my tomatoes out on the counter. They get a strange kind of styrofoamy texture if you refrigerate tomatoes. But when I am traveling, if it's going to be really hot in the car, so the car will get hotter obviously than outside if the car's closed up at like a trailhead, I will put them in my cooler. This is day 3 of my camping trip. My lettuce is still fresh, my carrots are not slimy, my tomatoes, because it has been so hot, are they're still fresh, especially because my cooler is cold but not frozen anymore, obviously. So I didn't freeze my lettuce or my tomatoes or my carrots by mistake. Something you might want to consider when you go somewhere is getting one of their paper maps and taking notes about the trails, the campsites, etc., so you can refer to it if you ever go again. Also, after a while of traveling around, all the campsites or forests or wherever you stay start to blend in together. So I try to write down notes about what's distinctive about this campground or this state park or this forest, and that way it jogs my memory. I don't necessarily remember things like, are 2 cars allowed at the campsite, or if it has flush toilets or showers or porta potties or whatever. I don't remember those details. So those are kind of things that I will write down on that map so that I can pull that out, and I can certainly go on the website. But for instance, at Ricketts Glen State Park, the website didn't tell you how many cars were allowed at each campsite. They had rules posted, and they gave you a slip of paper when you checked in that had 1 car per campsite, but I couldn't find it on the website. Maybe I just missed it. But those are important things. If you're planning a trip and you plan to share campsites and then you find out that only 1 car is allowed per site, that could create a really big problem. There's a gentleman across the street who went to an empty campsite and he's picking up firewood, which is perfectly fine. The thing is, you don't necessarily know if someone is still there or not, but it is Sunday, so most likely they've left. Yes, I wouldn't do that on a Saturday or a Friday because it's possible that the person at that campsite is like me. They have everything in their car. They leave nothing at their site when they go to a trailhead to go hiking. Then they come back and find that their firewood is gone. So that happened to us yesterday. On Saturday morning, some of the friends that I was camping with said that some ladies came to my campsite, saw the wood that was there, and started to take it. And the ladies I was camping with said, "Please don't take it, she's still here." And they said, "Well, there's no indication that she's here. There's nothing at the campsite." The thing is that I did have my reservation sticker that said that I was leaving the next day. So my site was reserved. It was on the pole. I had the piece of paper that said when I was leaving, and they should have paid attention to that. Thank goodness my friends were there to stop them, because otherwise we would have been out a couple of bundles, like 3 bundles of firewood. So if you're going around on a Sunday afternoon and picking up firewood that people leave at their campsite, that's great. If it's any other day of the weekend, then I wouldn't recommend, because you never know if they're coming back to that site or not. Probably they are. The other thing is, when I leave a campsite on a Sunday, I always take that reservation slip of paper so people know that I've left, and that way they feel safe if I've left firewood behind, that they can take that. Now that I've had my lunch, let's go check out the campsites and the cabins. These are the cabins. They call this a rustic cabin colony. Look at this black and tan one. That's fantastic. Have covered porches that you can hang out in, I guess, when it rains. And there's a bathroom right nearby with an emergency phone station. Have fireplaces or wood stoves. So the cabins are on a side road that goes behind the Rangers park office, and then you go through the loop of the rustic cabin loop, and there's a dirt and cinder road on the far side of the loop, because it's one way, so you have to go through around the loop in order to get to this group tent camping site. Looks like it's also a loop. Here's the rustic cabin loop in the center of the screen, and then as you drive behind, the white line here from the rustic cabin is the group tent camping. Picnic benches and a fire ring, and parking. Not very level, that's for sure, for tents. Since we're here, let's go check out the ranger station. has been so little signal in Ricketts Glen and World's End State Parks that when I do get signal, I write down my directions for getting home, just in case my GPS doesn't work, because it hasn't worked primarily for most of this trip. So this way I have written instructions that I can follow. And it doesn't hurt to throw extra hairbands on things so you always have them if you need them. I lost one of mine at the campfire last night. I actually found it again, but if I hadn't found it, my hair would have been loose while I was driving with the windows down. And with this mop, that's never a good thing. Okay, I'm sad to say it, but let's go home now. Between Bridges General Store. I need some Tylenol, I have a headache. There's a natural spring at the Barn Tavern. I'm gonna stop at Cabela's because I want to see if they have hiking boots. Once back home, I put in the stickers that I got from the state parks and the state forest into my Pennsylvania State Passport, which is a book of all the state parks and state forests that you can purchase. I'll put the link to the website where you can purchase it below in the description of the video. If you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching.